Welcome back to 2 News at 10 o'clock. As always, glad you're with us tonight. For many, what starts out as a simple prescription for pain relief can turn into a serious, even deadly addiction problem. Since 2000, here in Utah, there has been nearly a 400% increase in the number of deaths related to prescription drug overdoses. Dan Rascone is on this special report on addiction. He joins us. And Dan, earlier this week, we heard from some folks who were caught up in addiction. Tonight, from families.
That's right, Brian. You know, it doesn't just affect the user, and that's the big problem out there. It's a disease, and heartache extends into the home, the family, friends, and even loved ones. In some cases, it can even destroy and rip families apart. Tonight, a couple of families share their stories of the devastating consequences of drug addiction.
We gathered some of his things together and had this wonderful quilt made for a memory.
For Jim and Marie Clegg,
And his grandfather, whom he loved dearly.
this is no ordinary quilt.
He graduated from college.
Every piece of fabric,
And there's his number.
every stitch, and every picture
And that's his Harley.
represents someone very dear to them,
Oh, we miss him so terribly.
their son Mike.
And I will never in my life forget the call.
Just 32 years old when his life was cut short.
He went to bed one night, and the next morning he was found dead in his bed.
Mike left behind two small boys,
A 5- and 3-year-old little boys who are now left without a dad.
an Eagle Scout, a high school athlete, a Utah champion bodybuilder, and a college grad. The cause of death? Drugs.
I couldn't believe it. I wouldn't.
Jim and Marie say they didn't see it coming.
Actually, we thought Mike was in a pretty good place.
If only the Cleggs could go back in time, back to the time when something just wasn't right and their son was reaching out for help.
But if we knew then what we know now, boy, would we have done things different.
I think we were basically, Dan, in the choice world. You know, he can make a choice and quit. And it's not that way. See, one thing we've learned, Dan, is when you're angry with someone in addiction, you create stress in their life, and it's one of the worst things that an addict can, because stress causes cravings.
I would put my arms around him and tell him how much we love him and that we needed to go and find some help. And
The Cleggs are not alone in their feelings.
We made a lot of mistakes.
Doug
There's so many levels of denial.
and Jana Coombs almost lost their 32-year-old son Jason to drugs.
He said, I'm addicted to drugs. He just said that out loud, and I remember my head said, oh no, you're not addicted to drugs.
The Coombs say they only made things worse by trying to hide it and thinking they were the victims.
My attitude became kind of angry, you know, because I could see my future going down the tubes. It took me quite a while before I realized that my son was in a whole lot more pain than I was. I couldn't see that.
But I realize now, I wish I would have gotten on the offense instead of the defense.
People get sober all the time.
Dr. Kevin McCauley and Dr. Corey Rich are both addiction experts who work here at the Mont Michel Addiction Recovery Home in Sandy. They say the #1 mistake loved ones make when dealing with an addict is not understanding that addiction is a disease.
And if you just look at that behavior, it just looks like bad decision making. But it's more complex than that. It's actually a breaking down of the brain's choice system. Fortunately, it can also be fixed.
So when someone's actually addicted in a craving state, they lose the ability to exercise choice. In other words, draw upon morals and values and the things that really are meaningful in their life.
Another mistake, families blame themselves.
There are very good brain chemistry reasons for the reason your loved one is acting this way. It's not just about bad parenting or badness. And probably one of the best things to help people get sober is a good, strong family.
3 decades of research show that it is not caused by a moral defect or a personality flaw or a certain type of family.
The Coombs thank God they have a second chance with their son, that he did manage to find his way back after hitting rock bottom.
We have learned to love like we didn't know how to before.
I am so thankful for you.
For the Cleggs, it's too late to save their son. But it's not too late, they say, to help someone else save theirs.
You have exceeded your expectations for being a mom. I love you, Mike.
Now, the Cleggs and the Coombs are putting their experience to work by helping other families and addicts in the community with this painful disease. Next Sunday on 2 News at 10, I will continue my special report as we see one addiction program in action and how it's helping to change people's lives. And changing lives is exactly what's happening all across the valley. For more information and resources, you can go to instituteforaddictionstudy.com. One thing I've realized while doing this story, that there are plenty of resources out there, and there are also a lot of people wanting to help and change people's lives there.
We, myself included, get caught in some very rigid thinking about this and have misperceptions.
Yeah. It's very easy to do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Well, this opens it up for us.
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
All right, Dan.
All right.